Hi folks, it's Bob Doman. I'm back again. Hope you're still doing all right. Staying home, being healthy, doing the right stuff, eating right. Let's talk about another piece. One of the things that's gotten lost to a great degree in our society in recent decades is chores. It used to be children were expected to do chores. They were expected to have jobs and they were expected to be responsible for them. And, as I travel around the country and the world, I'm finding that's not the case. And I see the repercussions of that with the older teens and the young adults. They're not having the opportunity to learn how to really be responsible. They're not learning and doing things to help develop their self-esteem. They're not learning how to serve, to take care of, or think about anybody other than themselves. It's not a pretty picture. It's not the least bit unusual today to have parents of teenage kids having to haul them out of bed in the morning. I mean, please. The kids can't even be responsible for getting themselves up. And sadly, often the parents are yelling at the kids, you got to get up every day. You got to get up. You got to get yourself up. Well, you know what, Mom? If you keep getting them up, they're not going to get themselves up. If you are being responsible for them, they will not learn how to be responsible for themselves. Okay? So many of the parents are overseeing all the schoolwork. Gee, did you study for your test? Did you get your homework done? We're assuming the responsibility for them. In the long run, in the big picture, we're not doing them a favor with all of that. So start, one of the great places to start is simply kids get an alarm clock, they're responsible for getting themselves up. Responsible for making their bed. Responsible for being at the table on time for breakfast. And then to make their own breakfast. All right? They can do that. As you start developing chores and responsibilities, think in terms of, you're allowed to have consequences. If the kid has to get himself up at 7 o'clock, get himself ready, bed made, dressed, showered, ready to go for breakfast at 7:30, and they're not there at 7:30, don't make their breakfast. Go find yourself something to eat. Right? Start teaching them there are consequences to not being responsible. And it's also okay to reinforce and reward them for being responsible. Right? That's allowed. Now, as you start thinking about what they can do, what they could do. Years ago, I was a keynote speaker in Washington State at their conference for the gifted and talented. And in Washington State, at that time, I don't know if they still do it, instead of gifted and talented, they used highly capable. I love that term, highly capable. And I've taken it, all right? And I essentially apply it to the kids saying, you need to be, as a child, learning how to be highly capable so you can be a successful, functioning adult. Big deal. All right. I mean, we know we have a lot of adults out there who are not functional or successful or happy. Okay. They never grew up. All right. It doesn't just happen. You don't just learn those things because you got older. All right? You learn a work ethic. You learn to be responsible. You learn to serve. You learn to help largely when you're kids. And if it doesn't happen as children, sadly, it often doesn't happen. So as you're going through this process, okay, how do we do this? All right, let's start off at the beginning. Teach them, get them an alarm clock. They're responsible for getting themselves up. Teach them how to make their bed properly. All right, responsible for making their bed, getting themselves dressed, get up, get ready. All right, do that. It's easiest to teach jobs around the structure of the day. All right, meaning first thing in the morning is the structure of the day. Before lunch, after lunch, before dinner, after dinner. We have these kind of set things in the day, and we want to take advantage of those things that are kind of set in time. So you can teach them jobs to get done before lunch, after lunch, before dinner, after dinner, before bed. All right. And when you're trying to teach your kids to do chores, first of all, don't underestimate them. All right. My little granddaughter, before she could walk, was standing at a dishwasher, supported by the open door of the dishwasher, helping to unload the silverware, giving it to her mom. All right. All right. I have great memories when my youngest was a young boy. We had a ranch and we raised some Scottish Highland cattle, which were really cool cattle, by the way. And I can remember him out there early in the morning when it was still dark at 0, when he was like 5, 6 years old, pulling bales of hay to feed to the cattle. All right? And he loved it. He was responsible for it. He felt good for it. And he's become a very responsible, competent, capable adult. All right? Kids can do these things. If a typical child's 10 years old, there pretty much isn't anything involving cleaning in the house that your child couldn't do. All right? And there's not much cooking that your 10-year-old child couldn't do. Right? Don't be afraid to teach them to do these things. It's not child abuse to teach your child how to be highly capable, how to take care of themselves, how to be responsible, how to contribute. All right? It is going to serve them well for the rest of their lives. Sadly, so many of the kids are in school for 6 hours. They have an hour or 2 or 3 or 4 of homework, and they're going to their sports class, and they're going to their piano lesson, and they're going to this, and they're going to that. And they don't have any time to do any chores. Well, you know what? That's saying they don't have any time to do one of the most important things that is going to turn that child into a successful adult. Right? Our job as parents isn't to make our kids every day a happy, happy, happy day. That's not the goal. Our job is to help our children become successful, happy adults. Right? That's really important. And yes, in that process, you certainly can have happy days. And if you will, my experience has been the kids who really are responsible, all right, feel responsible for themselves and feel responsible for making themselves happy. All right? It's not mommy's fault if I'm not happy. It's my fault. I need to do something about that. Okay? So, please, while you've got your kids home, start teaching them how to do stuff. Teach them how to clean, how to be responsible for themselves. Now that it's spring here, start teaching them how to take care of all the stuff outside. And by the way, as parents, you're allowed to give them the jobs you don't want. Okay? Won't kill your kid to clean a toilet. Right? Teach them to be responsible. As you're doing it, you're going to build their self-esteem, their sense of self-worth. They're going to learn to serve. They're going to learn that the universe doesn't revolve around them. Important lessons. and it can be fun. You know, if you will, we start off with most preschool kids who are happy to learn anything. Anything. You want to take a 3 or 4-year-old and, okay, we're going to vacuum, we're going to dust, we're going to clean the toilet, all right? They're happy to do any of those things. They haven't yet been taught that they shouldn't. Right? So you do have the power with your attitude. You know, you don't approach it, oh, this is awful hard work, this is terrible, I'm going to make it do this. No, this is just part of being part of the family. This is part of learning how to function. This is about part of the process of learning how to be an adult. Okay? Not so hard. All right? You can do this, structure around the day, teach them one thing at a time, all right? Then another and another, add to it, build the structure, take advantage of this time at home, all right? And if dad's home, great. Dad can start teaching them all the things that dad can do. All right? All right? Go for it. Have fun.